6'4" junior from Big Spring, number 17, Ryan Tannehill.
It's been exciting for all of us, especially the ones that have known Ryan as he's growing up here.
Having the success he is having right now at A&M is really big for our town and our school.
Known what a fine young man he is.
Tannehill tore up the Big Spring High record books when he played for the Steers earlier this decade. In his first start at quarterback for A&M, he threw for 449 yards, an Aggie record, and 4 touchdowns in a rout of Texas Tech, which was no surprise to one of his former teachers.
Every time he does something well, I say, now who was his Sunday school teacher? So it's just a little joke in our family.
Newton helps run the Howard County Aggie Club, which gives scholarships to those wishing to attend A&M.
I was talking to a scholarship recipient today, and she said she didn't even like football, but it is a blast whenever you're down there and you know that you went to high school with him.
Tannehill's accomplishments aren't limited to Kyle Field. The redshirt junior carries a 3.6 GPA in biology, and current Steers head coach Philip Ritchie is trying to use that and all of Ryan's accomplishments to motivate his team.
Our kids can relate to him, say, hey, he's from Big Spring, and we can also use that in motivating them to try to work hard and realize that to dream big, and if you work hard enough that you can accomplish great things like Ryan has.
Although he didn't coach him, Ritchie says he closely monitors Ryan's progress.
Previous weeks we were all just griping and complaining because he wasn't the starting quarterback, but since he has been, everybody's excited and really pulling for him.
One of the teachers that I teach with out at Elbow, Tech graduate, and she said if we have to lose, at least we lost to Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan's not the only Tannehill to come through the program recently. His younger brother Tyler was quarterback of the team for 2 seasons, and there's rumors of an even younger Tannehill tearing up the 8th grade fields, so the Tannehill legacy at Big Spring will continue. Reporting from Big Spring, Greg Sherman, CBS 7 News. Earlier this season, Big Spring was state-ranked in basketball for the first time in more than 30 years. One of the key players is overcoming his disability and instead using his ability to help the team.
You look at him, you wouldn't pick him first on the playground for a game, but he's very basketball smart, has a high IQ.
Senior Luke Adams, number 31 on your screen, led the Steers to their first district title since 1992 last season, and to their first state ranking since the 1970s this season.
In the past years at Big Spring, they've not been used to winning, and I think we're really accepting that attitude. I think once you have that mindset to win, I think it's really hard to stop.
He set a school record with 11 assists in 1 game this year, and he is playing with an extra piece of equipment known as a cochlear implant.
I was born deaf. The problem for me is just to really just stay in contact with the coach, always look at him, and I have to use my eyes more than your ears.
Steers' first-year head coach Cliff Thompson.
He works on his game so hard. He'll work out 2 or 3 times a day outside of our practice. He just has a love for the game.
Luke says his disability becomes an advantage on the road in a hostile environment.
Kind of a blessing in disguise, really. It's helped me basically block out, just concentrate, focus better. I definitely say it's to my advantage.
An advantage that could lead to him playing Division I ball next year. If the last name Adams sounds familiar, well, it should. His dad, Mark, coached Howard College to the National JUCO Championship last year. Reporting from Big Spring, Greg Sherman, CBS 7 Sports. It's a gigantic battle in 6-man here in Garden City as the number 2 Bearcats entertain number 1 Borden County. These 2 teams don't know much about losing as they have won their last 54 games in a row combined. Garden City's won 20 in a row and a state championship. They haven't lost since the season opener last year. Meanwhile, the Coyotes have won 34 games in a row, a pair of state championships, and they haven't lost a game since 2007. It's also a matchup between the number 1 offense in 6-man with Garden City and the number 1 defense in 6-man with Borden County. Something's got to give, and someone's going to lose their first game in a long time. Should be a classic battle tonight here at the Garden. Big Spring hoping to pull off a classic upset against the number 1 team in 3A. Let's go down to Brownwood and check in with Paul Lawrence. Kyle, Big Spring had to survive 2 lightning delays, a loose dog on the field relieving himself, and Denison's All-State tailback DJ Jones. And what was their reward? The biggest win in school history. We'll pick it up as the Steers come out of the half trailing 14-7. Monte Anderson immediately gets Big Spring going with a 20-yard run. Later he finishes it off from 4 yards out. Extra point no good. Steers still trail 14-13. Defense gets in on the action as Denison quarterback Jordan Taylor's pass gets picked off by Xavier Parnell. Remember that name, you'll hear it again in the fourth quarter. Anderson would go off in the final period as he bounces this one around for 30 yards down to the Yellow Jacket 33-yard line. Big play of the ball game. Tyler Tannehill back to pass, pump fakes, then launches one for Thaddeus Strouder. It goes off a Denison player into Strouder's hands for a Steers touchdown, but hold everything. There's a flag down, but it's pass interference against the Jackets. Count the score. Big Spring takes their first lead of the ball game at 21-14. Check out the replay. Denison's Jake Markham tips it up in the air. It goes off Strouder's helmet right into his arms despite the pass interference. DJ Jones, held in check most of the night, finally makes some noise as he scores from 26 yards out. Game tied at 21 with 6:21 left. Monte Anderson, though, takes over the rest of the way. 100 yards in the second half. One long run after another as he gets the Steers down to the Jackets 5. Tannehill then goes play action to Martin Yanez. He sneaks into the end zone. Big Spring regains the lead at 27-21 with 2:25 left. Last chance for Denison, but Taylor gets his pass picked off again by you-know-who, Xavier Parnell, and that's all she wrote. Cue the celebration, cue the happy coaches, and cue that scoreboard. Big Spring, big win. Denison's 12-game winning streak comes to an end. Monte Anderson outgains DJ Jones 155-87. Hey Monte, tell me how you feel.
That feels pretty good. You know, he's a good back, you know, and I feel like it's going to be a big competition coming in, but, you know, the better man got the job. Got the job done.
I tell you, I love that kid. Monte, he deserves this as much as anybody. He has sold out for this program. He's a true meaning of a Steer.
Reporting from Steer Stadium, I'm Greg Sherman for CBS 7 Sports.
Howard College from Big Spring, Texas, the 2010 National Junior College Basketball Champions.
The Hawks won their first national basketball championship, and it has extra special meaning to players such as star Jay Crowder.
When we got back to Big Springs and saw the support, that's when it hit me, and it feels great.
The Georgia native ended up in Big Spring after his original junior college lost its accreditation last year.
It's a blessing. I would have never thought I'd be in a situation, me playing for a national championship, but I knew that the only school that really would give me a chance was Howard.
He is heading to Marquette to play Division I ball, but says he will never forget Big Spring.
I always give back to this town. This town is a good supporter.
It's also special to Janelle Davis. Her late husband Harold was the first head basketball coach in the school's history, and the court bears his name. Harold died almost 18 months ago, but Janelle says if he were still alive, he would be leading the celebration.
He would be jumping for joy, literally, because that had been his aim always, and he came very close a time or two. I know that he is smiling now.
Head coach Mark Adams picked up something else in Kansas in addition to the national championship, a speeding ticket. When asked if it was worth it, he said, quote, "It was an easy trade-off. It was well worth it to go up there." With the national championship Hawks in Big Spring, Greg Sherman, CBS 7 News.